Good afternoon and welcome to the Committee of Adjustments hearings. Just wait till the echo stops. Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearings for Suburban Panel 2. We are a City of Ottawa quasi-judicial tribunal that holds public hearings to consider Planning Act applications, including minor variances to the zoning requirements and consents to sever. Our hearings are now held in person at Ben Franklin Place, 101 Centerpoint Drive. We also enable remote participation by video conferencing for our registered speakers. We are live streaming on YouTube, and the video will be archived and available for future viewing by the public. My name is Fabian Poulin. I'll be chairing today's hearings, and you can address me by my name or as chair. And with me are my fellow panel members, George Barrett, Heather McLean, and Julianne Wright. The procedure for the hearings will be as follows. Listed on the agenda and appearing on screen from time to time are the applications we'll hear today. For the sake of efficiency, I may deal with agenda items in a different order. Panel members have reviewed the planning reports and any written submissions in support or in opposition to each of the applications. Today, we'll hear any oral submissions relating to the applications. As part of the statutory public notification requirements, each applicant was required to post a sign on the property in question before the hearing. They also had to confirm in writing that they did so, or they'll need to swear or affirm an oath today that they fulfilled the sign posting requirements. Otherwise, we may have to adjourn or postpone the hearing. The panel may ask for a brief presentation of an application followed by questions for the applicant and city planning staff. We will then hear from members of the public who've registered to speak, and we may also ask if there are any questions of them. Finally, the applicant who has the burden of proof will have an opportunity to make the final comments and reply. Please address your comments to me as the chair, starting with your name and spelling it if necessary, and your address for the record. All presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Any exceptions will be at my discretion. At the end of the hearing, the panel may either make an oral decision or we may reserve our decision, which means it won't be delivered today. In either case, and within 10 days, the Committee of Adjustment will send the official written decision and reasons for it to all the parties, participants, and anyone else who has requested a copy. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure we'll be following today? There are no questions. We have several applications here today, but we first need to deal with some preliminary procedural matters. Are there any declarations of interest from the panel here on any applications to be heard today? Oh, no declarations of interest. We have no confirmation of minutes. We have, I believe, one adjournment request. That is item number 1, having to do with 9 Hastings. Roger Stewart, are you available? Come on down, sir. There's a button on that machine that will turn green, and if you can just state your name.
My name is Roger Stewart. I live at 18 Turtleback Way in Stittsville.
Okay, I understand there's an adjournment request here, sir, because there are a few more variances required on your application.
Yeah, our original application was for a height variance, and during I guess after our application went in, it got reviewed by city staff. They came back that we need 2 minor variances for the proposed width and location of our driveway.
Okay, so we're going to propose that this application be adjourned sine die, and for you to get enough time to put all the information necessary to get those variances resolved.
Okay, we have everything ready to go, so we will request as soon as possible, but
once all the information is filed, the staff will put together a timeline when it can be put in. We'll probably push it forward as fast as we can.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. All those in favor of adjourning this application sine die, please raise your hands. This application is adjourned. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now we have 2 items that are on the unopposed list. And in order to be on the unopposed list, the following requirements are necessary. There are no objections or concerns from the parties, that is the applicant, city, or the public. No amendments are required. There are no registered speakers. The sign posting declaration has been received. Applicant or their agents confirm that they agree with all the requested conditions, if any, and there are no questions from the panelists. First item up for as an unopposed item is item number 3, 1880 Simard. And I'd like to ask the panel if they agree with approving this application. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Application is approved. Next item up for approval is item number 5, having to do with 72 Laval. All those in favor with approving this application, please raise your hands. That application too is approved. Thank you very much. All right, so we'll now move on to the items in line. And the first item is item number 2, having to do with 15 Deerfox and 3162 Woodroffe Avenue. And I'm looking for Jeffrey Kelly, Murray Chown, and Ravi Shangavi. Good afternoon. Please state your name and your address, please.
So I'm Jeff Kelly from Novatech.
Great,
I'm joined by Murray Chown and Ravi Shangavi.
thank you. Would you like to give us a brief description of your application today, sir?
I'm prepared to make a complete presentation.
Please do.
You can pull up the,
Remember that you have 5 minutes.
I was actually going to ask for a bit of additional time,
How much more?
approximately 5 minutes more to give a
So it's gonna be a
comprehensive.
10-minute, it's gonna be a 10-minute?
There are 4 lots, so it's a lot of detail to cover.
Okay. Well, let's see how we go. As long as it's not too repetitive, we're good.
Fair enough. You can cut me off if you've had enough information.
Okay.
So thank you, Chair, and members of the committee. Again, Jeff Kelly from Novatech, here to present applications for consent and minor variance on 15 Deerfox Drive and 3162 Woodroffe. And again, joined by my colleague Murray Chown and the client Ravi Shangavi. Next slide, please. So just to give you a bbit of context, 15 Deerfox and 3162 Woodroffe are merged parcels forming the subject site. It's an interior lot with 12,663 square meters and a frontage of 46.2 meters long Deerfox. I'll just note that the subject site is designated minor corridor and it is within the evolving overlay in the City of Ottawa official plan. 15 Deerfox is zoned residential second density subzone V, and there is an exception provision 2050 on the subject site. And it's also split zone. So 3162 Woodroffe is zoned local commercial subzone 8. It also has urban exception 2050, and the height is limited to 11 meters on that site. I'll just also note that long semi-detached dwellings are a permitted use on the subject property. Next slide, please. So with respect to the site plan, I'll just go through some details here. So 4 3-story long semi-detached dwellings are proposed, each having frontage on Deerfox. There will be a total of 6 dwelling units in each long semi, and that's 3 units on the front half and 3 units on the rear half of each long semi, for a total of 24 dwelling units to be provided. 2 of the units will be accessed from the front of each long semi. 2 of the units will be accessed from the rear of each long semi, and 1 unit will be accessed from each of the front and rear from the side of each long semi. Walkways are going to be provided for pedestrian access, which will be east of lot 1 on the top of the screen, between the buildings 2 and 3 in the center of the screen, and then at the west of lot 4, so the bottom of the screen. And these will be provided from the front lot line to the rear parking area. There is a shared driveway running along the east lot line, providing access to parking spaces located in the rear. And that's accessed off Deerfox. 2 parking spaces are provided for each proposed building. And the proposed development is designed to conform with all provisions of the zoning bylaw, except for maximum permitted building height on each lot and a minimum lot width for lots 1, 2, and 3, as well as shared access to parking at the top of the page. Next slide, please. So just an image of the proposed development, what it would look like. So next slide, please. Just quickly here, to note that the subject site is within 950 meters, about 14 minutes walking distance of the Nepean Woods Transitway Station, and just that the OP policies are supportive of intensification in proximity to transit. Next slide, please. The draft reference plan. So just to note that severance applications 1, 2, 3, and 4 are designed to establish pedestrian access easements over the lots labeled as parts 8 through 17 on the draft reference plan. And this is to provide residents with access to rear yard parking and the public sidewalk. The proposed site plan will require a shared connection between parts 3 and 4. This is easement shown as part 12 and 13 on the draft reference plan, lots 2 and 3 in the center of the site plan. And in an abundance of caution, through discussions with staff, easements are also being proposed between parts 2 and 3 and between parts 4 and 5 to ensure they could be registered if required due to any changes that may occur during construction. Next slide, please. So I'll just briefly go through each severance application. So this is severance application 1 to create the lot labeled as parts 2, 11, and 14. Just that it's occupied by one long semi-detached dwelling. Next slide. Severance application 2, creating the lot labeled as part 3, 10, 12, and 15. Again, occupied by one long semi-detached dwelling. Next slide, please. Severance application 3, the lot label is part 4, 9, 13, and 16 on the draft reference plan. Again, it's occupied by one long semi. Next slide, please. Severance application 4 creates the lots labeled as 5, 8, and 17. And again, one long semi is proposed. And finally, next slide. This is severance application 5, and this is to establish an easement over the lot labeled as parts 1 and 6 on the draft reference plan. And this is in favor of parts 2 to 5 and parts 8 to 17 for access. Parts 1 and 6 will have a total area of 514.4 square meters and a frontage of 6.44 meters on Deerfox. So just to summarize the consent applications, the proposal does not necessitate the construction of new public infrastructure, including roads and services. Plan of subdivision is not required for the orderly and proper development of the municipality. Proposed severances are within an urban area and have regard for matters of provincial interest. They are not premature. The proposed severances conform to policies of the City of Ottawa official plan with respect to infill and intensification, and will result in lot widths and lot areas for the newly created parcels that are compatible with existing land use patterns and the lot fabric of the neighborhood. So with that, proposed severances meet the criteria of subsection 5124 of the Planning Act and represent good land use planning. With respect to variances, next slide, please. So variances are requested for an increased building height of 11 meters for each proposed building, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum building height of 9.5 meters for a long semi-detached dwelling. Variances are requested for a decreased lot width of 9.8 meters for lots 1, 2, and 3, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum lot width of 10 meters for a long semi-detached dwelling. And a variance is also requested for a decreased lot width of 6.38 meters for the retained parcel, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum lot width of 9 meters for the existing detached dwelling to be retained. And that's for the shared access at the top of the screen. Next slide, please. So let's walk through the 4 tests. The first test for minor variance is that the general intent and purpose of the official plan is maintained. So proposed development on the subject site is an example of infill and intensification and supports the creation of 15-minute neighborhoods. It will also contribute to residential intensification in the urban area to meet targets of the growth management framework. Subject site is located in the evolving overlay. So on your screen here, you'll note the policy from the evolving overlay of the official plan states that the city will generally be supportive of applications for low-rise intensification that seek to amend the development standards of the underlying zone. So policies of the official plan are supportive of amending the development standards of the underlying zone in this location, which would include reduced lot widths and building heights that are greater than permitted by provisions of the zoning bylaw in order to facilitate the proposed form of modular housing. The proposed development would contribute to achieving intensification objectives by providing additional dwelling units in a form of development that is compatible with the surrounding low-rise context. Minor variances therefore maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Next slide, please. With respect to the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, the parcel at 15 Deerfox is zoned R2V, which permits a mix of residential building forms ranging from detached to 2 principal unit dwellings. This includes long semi-detached dwellings. Proposed development meets all performance standards for long semis, with the exception of building height for each proposed long semi, lot widths on lots 1, 2, and 3, and lot width for the retained parcel at the top of your screen of the shared access driveway. Proposed provisions of the R2V zone permit a maximum building height of 9.5 meters, and the proposed buildings will be 11 meters in building height. So low rise is defined as buildings that are 4 stories or less, and of course, a 3-story building is being proposed here. The proposed long semi-detached dwellings are compatible with the existing low-rise residential development along Deerfox and Ryland to the east of the site, and will contribute to maintain the residential character of the neighborhood. So with that, the requested minor variances meet the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. Third test for minor variance is that the minor variance is considered desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land. There's 2 main points here. First of all, regarding building height. So the buildings are proposed to be developed using a modular design. And as highlighted on the pink in the figure before you, modular construction does require the use of additional structural elements. And this is for the purposes of shipping and on-site assembly. So using a 9-foot ceiling height, modular construction results in a minor increase to the maximum height requirements for a 3-story building when it would be compared to conventional construction methods. The objective, therefore, is to increase construction quality and efficiency that in turn would reduce total construction costs and speed up the building process. And of course, this is desirable in the city, given the urgent need for more housing options in the city of Ottawa. Secondly, low-rise is defined as buildings 4 stories or less. So each proposed long semi is a maximum of 3 stories in building height. Proposed building heights are compatible with the existing low-rise scale of the neighborhood, and the proposed building height of 11 meters or 3 stories is appropriate in this location. With respect to the reduced lot widths, variances B, D, and F request a reduced lot width of 9.8 meters for lots 1, 2, and 3. And variance H requests a reduced lot width of 6.38 meters for the shared access on the west side of the parcel. The east side of the parcel. The request to reduce lot widths for proposed buildings and the shared access will create lots that are consistent with the existing lot fabric, existing street characteristics of the neighborhood, and will provide a fully conforming driveway to parking spaces located in the rear. The requested minor variances for increased building height and reduced lot width are considered desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land. Next slide, please.
1 minute, sir.
Yep. I'll just finish up with the 4th test. So the 4th test for minor variance is that the variance is considered minor in nature. Variances B, D, and F are requested to permit a reduced lot width of 9.8 meters for lots 1, 2, and 3, which represents a minor reduction of 0.2 meters from the zoning requirement. Variance H requests a reduced lot width of 6.38 meters for the shared access of Deerfox, representing a reduced lot width of 2.62 meters from the zoning requirement. Variances A, C, E, and G are requested to permit an increased building height for lots 1, 2, and 3 by 1.5 meters. The proposed development meets the performance standards for minimum lot area, front yard setback, interior side setback, and rear yard setback. A 1.5 meter increase to the maximum permitted building height is a minor increase from the zoning provision. The proposed 3-story long semis represent a form and scale that is compatible with surrounding low-rise context. The request for reduced lot width and increased building height on the subject site would have no impact on the streetscape or on the functionality of this site. And with that, the requested variances are considered minor in nature. So I'll just hold my comments there. And I would actually request, if the panel will allow, we would like to respond to comments from the neighboring property at 3150 Woodroffe directly, if we may do that now.
No, I'll wait. We'll wait.
Okay.
In just a minute. So, do you know there are some conditions if this application is to be approved today?
Yep.
Do you agree with those conditions?
We are in agreement with the conditions.
Okay. So I'll move on to questions from the panel. Mr. Barrett, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, I do. Just with regards to the tree removal, or I believe, could you clarify the number of trees that are being removed from the property to allow for the construction of the 4 units?
Bear with us for a moment.
Yep.
It's 12 trees that are being removed.
Mhm. And maybe I missed it, but are there any, what are the trees that are being removed? Are they large shade trees, or are they just small trees? Can you, because it wasn't in the tree report.
But it was not shown on the tree report.
No, the dendron.
I apologize. We don't have the TIR at our fingertips. But the information is, Ravi says he's able to answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the intended removals are not removing any significant trees, as you asked. The largest tree, the most prominent tree, a city tree, we've worked to retain. And we've worked with forestry to retain the trees that are city trees and are along the street. The interior trees are not as substantial.
Okay, because they weren't listed in the TIR, or at least I didn't see them. But thank you. Thank you for the response.
Ms. McLean, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there any reason why part 6, which is that shared access, doesn't extend right over to the westerly lot line? It seems to leave a little,
There is a small strip there. No reason specifically, just the easement is designed to cover the roadway.
just wondering about the proper and orderly configuration of the land, and it seems like an odd shaped piece to leave hanging there with the retained land.
I was explaining to my client that you tend to look at the details of our plans when we submit the applications. So our plan simply covers that portion of the property which will be used for access. So that space between the end of the driveway and the westerly property line is not being used for access, and so it's not included in the application for the easement.
Thank you for that information. On the retained land, how many buildings or structures are on the retained land? And I guess what I'm looking at is, why does the retained land need frontage on Deerfox when it has it on Woodroffe and the other street, Ryland, I think, Ryland?
So in the short term, there are only 2 existing houses on the retained property. We're still getting feedback in it. So yeah, in the short term, there's only 2 existing detached dwellings on the property. The future development plans haven't been firmed up as of yet. But it's quite likely that the future development will require access to both Deerfox and Woodroffe. If it's only going to have access to one of those 2 streets, the city's preference will be that the access is from Deerfox and not Woodroffe because of the classification of the roads. So that in any event, the retained lands will require access to Deerfox.
Thank you for that. And then I guess, I just wanted to check the zoning, because in our notice, we say R2V exception. And did you say the Woodroffe was zoned differently, or the lands on Woodroffe were just?
That's correct. The property is split zoned. So there is a local commercial zoning on the 3162 Woodroffe portion of the parcel.
So we may need to amend our notice or our information on that zoning. That's fine. Thank you.
I have a question. The number of parking spaces per lot is only 2, but you have 6 units on that lot. Does that meet zoning?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm going to ask the same question of planning, just to be sure. Okay. Okay, any further questions? Yes, Ms. Wright?
So you're asking for a height variance. I guess I'd like to hear the rationale of why you're going with a 9-foot ceiling and why not go with 8 instead and then not need the variance?
So just the quick answer is that it's based on the modular construction. Our client can explain that in a bit more detail.
So there's two parts to your answer. One is, we had looked at the last 100 high-rise buildings built in Ottawa. 98 were finished with 9-foot ceilings.
Can you speak up, sir?
Yep. So we had internally looked at the last 100 high-rise buildings built in Ottawa. The 98 of them had 9-foot finished ceilings. So the standard is building below that today would be substandard from an average potential lifetime of that structure. But more importantly, we are shipping these buildings in Lego boxes. As you may have seen on TV, they get built in a factory, and unlike what's something that's built on site, they need a roof to it just to keep the box stable as it goes down the road, so the walls don't flap over. So that ceiling ends up being on every level. So that adds additional height where you typically would not have that in construction. So anything being shipped and being built off-site, which we're going to see significant construction of like that, is going to require additional height just by the nature of it being transported on the road and having to be structurally stable.
But I'm sure the factory would allow you to have an 8-foot ceiling, so it's really more market-driven decision to go with 9 instead of 8.
I mean, that's a fair comment, yeah. So if the average consumer has looked at 100 buildings and 98 of them have 9-foot ceilings, they're going to feel that this is substandard product. And if we're building today and catering to the average market, we would just build what everybody else is building.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to move on to planning and Mr. Geldart. Do you have any comments with respect to this application?
No questions, Mr. Chair, but or comments, but to answer your question would be that this property is located within area C of the parking schedule. So there's 1 parking space required per unit, per principal dwelling unit.
Per principal dwelling unit?
Yeah.
Okay, so it meets the bylaw then?
It meets the bylaw, yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any questions for planning staff? Mr. Barrett? Ms. McLean?
Yes. I just wondered if, do you feel that the lot width for the retained land of 6.38 meters is sufficient for the potential development of the retained land?
Yes, I would say like the purpose of the lot width is, in my opinion, twofold. It's to make sure that the land can be adequately serviced and that you can maintain access to the lot in question. So despite that it has a narrow frontage, it is meeting the lot area requirements. There's sufficient land just closer to the rear. So it's going to form what would be called a flag lot in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, with no further questions, I'd like to ask the public if there's anyone from the public that would like to make a presentation.
Mr. Chair, there is a participant online who's indicated they'd like to come forward and speak.
Okay.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you please state your name and your address, sir?
Yes, Bassam Omru. I'm at 14 Tierney Drive, and next to me is Mr. Bouhaisi at 12 Tierney Drive. I also represent the concerns of folks on 16 Tierney Drive, 8, 10, and 6, as well as 4. So I know I get how much time I have, 4 minutes. I'll try to be very precise. The gentleman has used the word intensification 6 times today. And our concern is, now what are the bylaws for if every time we need to make an exception? And based on construction norm, etc., if doing it easier today to maybe go to containers, let's build a set of homes today through metal containers, or let's just bring in 3D printing and print homes to make it cheaper and easier. And who cares about the quality of life and the neighborhood for which, they've been here for over 20 years. The environment, the folks on Tierney Drive feel we are in an area that we used to call, heart's desire. And pretty soon behind us, and we're going to go to a slum of homes that are we are asking to kind of, let's shrink them a little bit, make them less wide, and let's go up a little bit higher. And might as well be in Japan today or in Tokyo, and you try to use a smaller and smaller environment. I don't think there is a necessity, for us to be living in such an environment or to bring the neighborhood value and the environment to that level. There's a lot of spaces in the area which we can leverage if we want to go to an affordable, cheaper housing. And my concern is not only what is being proposed in phase one, my concern is what is the longer term for what remains for the rest of the lots. Because that impacts our homes, our views, and our livelihood. The lot next to it, when I personally moved in, there was a lot of beautiful trees which were diminished, demolished, they were uprooted, and we were told they're going to be replaced, none of which happened. And I really would like us to maybe reconsider and look at the quality of life, quality of the neighborhood, especially in a neighborhood that is paying one of the highest taxes in the city here. And would like to basically reconsider and also justify why it keep going up. So if today we go up another meter, in a couple of years, let's go 3 meters. Let's go and make a, go to a skyscraper model because it's more cheaper and more profitable for the builders community. I think we need to look at the residents' desire, the quality of life, the quality of the neighborhood, and in looking at these things before actually approving yet another exception. And if there's a bylaw, why even go to an exception? And they're saying, manufacturers say 9 feet, they can do it 8, they can do it 7. I can get you with manufacturing in Japan to make it 4 feet if you needed to. You can have people can slide into the rooms. That is not the quality of life we are looking for. We're really asking that, please reconsider and do not violate the bylaws. Don't stretch it. Don't keep making exceptions. Otherwise, what's the point of making bylaws? With that, I rest and thank you for listening. I think you're on mute, sir.
On mute, sorry. Thanks for your input, sir. I'm going to ask the panel if they've got any questions for you. Ms. Wright? Mr. Barrett?
No, I don't.
Ms. McLean?
No.
No questions for you, sir. Thank you very much for your input. Appreciate it. Okay, now I just wait. Is there anyone else online that would like to make a statement?
It doesn't appear to be, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Mr. Kelly, you wanted to address a specific address or neighbor
Yes, thank you.
comments. Okay, please go ahead.
Just a few brief comments. We received written correspondence from the neighbor at 3150 Woodroffe, which is immediately to the east of the subject site. It's just actually slide 3 in the presentation may be helpful with the site plan. But I'll just continue though. Okay.
We'll bring it up, Mr. Chair. It just
Thank
takes
you.
a moment.
Perfect, thank you. So just wanted to note a few points in response to that, the neighbor to the east. So beginning with their comments stating that building heights will tower over spa space and their rear yard private spa oasis. Those are quotes from their letter. Just wanted to note that the surrounding build form context again is low rise and it's within the minor corridor of the official plan and in the evolving overlay, which generally supports applications for low rise intensification where it amends the performance standards of the underlying zoning. Again, low rise is defined as 4 stories or less. 3 stories are being proposed here on this property. And the applications also request an additional height of 1.5 meters. So just to note that. I want to note on what you're seeing here on lot 1 with respect to separation and height. From the face of that proposed building to the nearest point of the shared lot line, there's a separation distance of over 7.6 meters between the face of the building and the shared lot line. That provides, in our opinion, adequate space between the building and the shared lot line to offset any concerns that the resident or the owners of the next property across to the east may have with respect to development of a 3-story long semi. And then they also had comments with respect to the shared easement on the east side of the lot. So just note that nothing in the zoning would prevent an access easement for a shared driveway across the east side of the lot. And also noting in the comments, it states that it would be a public easement. We just want to clarify it is a private easement and would be used for the residents of the proposed development, not publicly accessible. So with that, it's not anticipated that it would be heavily trafficked and would also not be used, again, as a public easement for through traffic. So let's make those points and happy to respond to any comments.
Yes, just to, one question with regards to fencing. Is it currently fenced, the property? And are you intending to put a wood fence up along the property at
I'll let the
3150? Yeah, thank you.
There is some fencing. Like, I can't say everywhere there is fencing, but to answer your question, in the new construction phase, we will be placing fencing in place. So there will be some privacy fencing separating the two properties.
A wood fence, or?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. Well, you have the opportunity for the last word, Kelly. Oh, Mr. Chown.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I want to provide the last word because this may be the last time I appear before this committee before I retire. I do want to just quickly address the comments from the residents on Tierney Drive. If you could put up slide 2 from the presentation, please. So it's not labeled on this drawing, sir, but Tierney Drive is the street to the south connecting to Woodroffe, so that the residents on Tierney Drive back onto the retained lands. They're nowhere close to the severed parcels that are before the committee today. So I think what you heard from the speaker this afternoon is not really concerns about the applications that are before you today, but are concerns about what might happen or might be developed on the retained lands. So there's nothing before you today with respect to the future development of the retained lands, that those lands will go through a separate planning process if and when our client moves forward with the development on the retained parcels. I find it interesting that their comments were very much about quality of life. And we are concerned about quality of life, which is why these homes are being designed with 9-foot ceilings. That is the norm, that is the standard today in the market, is to provide 9-foot ceilings. And as the units get smaller, that height is important. And so when we talk about quality of life, that's exactly what we are trying to address by maintaining a standard of a 9-foot ceiling, which contributes in part to the additional height that's being sought today. Mr. Kelly in his presentation addressed all of the criteria in section 51 24 of the Act as they relate to the severances. He also dealt with all of the criteria under 45-2 dealing with the minor variances. It's his opinion, it's our opinion that the severances meet the criteria under 5124 and that they meet the tests under 45-2. And importantly for you and importantly for us, staff have indicated in their report to you that they too, in their professional planning opinion, have come to the same conclusion that the severances meet the criteria of 5124 and the variances meet the tests of 45-2. You have no evidence to the contrary before you this afternoon. We would respectfully ask that you approve the severances and the minor variances as filed, including the conditions recommended by staff on the severances. Thank you very much. And if I don't see you again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Good luck to you in your future endeavors, Mr. Chow. Thanks for the presentation. I'd like to ask the panel if they would like to reserve this application. All those in favor? Your application will be reserved and we'll let you know within 10 days of our written decision. Thank you very much. Okay, our next item to be discussed is item number 4, having to do with 1217 Anoka. And I'm looking for A. Forget. Good afternoon. Could you, need to press that button there. There you go. Could you please state your name and your address?
Alex Farget, 242 Casa Grande Circle, Orleans, Ontario.
Perfect. Can we get a brief description of your application today, sir?
Yeah, of course, I got a presentation.
Please go ahead.
I'll put up slide 1. Hello, Chair and panel committees members. My name is Alex Farget, and I'm here regarding the application for consent and minor variance, as well as a severance for 2 parcels of the redevelopment of new semi-detached dwelling at 1217 Anoka Street. Next slide. The subject site is at 1217 Anoka Street, lot 424. This is about 100 meters from the intersection of Bank Street and Heron, with zoning R2F. Next slide. The application is to propose a severance of the subject site to create 2 separate parcels of land. Each lot would be redeveloped with a semi-detached dwelling, which zoning approves. Therefore, consent and minor variance application are required for the redevelopment. Next slide. Here are surrounding properties, site location, and a similar project with that have been approved with similar lot area, width, and rear yard setbacks that we are suggesting today. Next slide. Here are the properties surrounding the property itself. The 1217 is beside 2 buildings that are essentially with the same rear yard setbacks, as well as a similar area and lot width required for this project. Next slide. Here's a rendering site preliminary plans to show the area on the front, site plan to show the driveways on 2 sides, as well as the south landscape and permeable landscape that we are suggesting. Next slide. Here are some lot dimensions. It's a little hard to read there, but there's a table to show the similar neighbors adjoining the property that have the same minor variances that are suggested today, if not smaller. The ones next door at 1221 and 1223 Anoka Street have in fact much smaller lot width and lot areas. That's your suggesting. Next slide. The lot width zoning requires 9 meters, and we're proposing 7.59 meters per lot. The lot area requires 270 square meters. Our proposed lots would be 231.4 square meters on one side and 229.6 square meters on the other. The rear yard setbacks, zoning requires 8.52 meters, and our proposed lots would be 7.6 meters. Side yard setbacks, zoning requires 1.5 meters, and we're proposed 1.21 meters and 1.28 meters. Next slide. As you can see here, we're showing the percentage of variances per lot. So for the lot width and area, we're requesting a 15% variant change. For the side yard, a 19% variance, and for the rear yard of an 11%. We are keeping the 25% required for the rear yard area. Next slide. Here's a slide of the next door neighbor. So it shows that the four neighbors next door, so the two units, semi-detached and the other semi-detached next doors, all line up with the 7.6 meters that we're requesting, just to line up all the backyards. And as you can see, the side yard setback for the neighbors actually 0.91 meters. That we're only requesting 1.21 minimum. Next slide. The proposed consent meets the Section 51 of the Planning Act. It aligns with the city's official plan, supports the provincial planning statements, and enabling the residential intensification within the urban area. It's consistent with municipal and provincial policies. It efficiently utilizes infrastructures, supports housing goals, and complements the surrounding lot fabric and land use. Next slide. I also sent a detailed letter last Friday to address some of the city's concern on the four tests. Does the proposal maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? The variances requested maintain the general intent, the purpose of the general urban area of the official plan. It's 100 meters from Bank and Heron, which is a Main Street corridor. Next slide. Does the proposal maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? The acceptance of these variances allow the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw to be maintained, and it is compatible with the existing land use pattern in the neighborhood. Next slide. Is the proposal desirable for the appropriate development of the land use? The introduction of this proposed development is desirable for the property. The property is ready for development, and currently the building is a 1956 800 square foot bungalow. May I finish?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is the variance minor? The minor variance proposal is minor, only requiring minor variance lot width of 7.59, lot area of 2.296. Zoning requires lot width 9 meters, and we are requesting 7.6 meters. In conclusion, it is my opinion that the proposed development at 1217 Anoka Street to construct a semi-detached dwelling in place of a single detached dwelling conforms to the intent and nature of the official plan, complies with the intent of nature of the zoning bylaw, and is desirable and appropriate form of development. Finally, that the request is minor in nature, as one city-owned tree is required to be removed in order to facilitate the proposed development. I'm prepared to accept the condition to replant trees, and as suggested by Julian Alvarez Barkman, planning forester, to run the new services underneath the driveways to help maximize the tree's growth potentials. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you aware of the conditions that are
Yes.
required? Do you agree with these conditions?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask panel if they've got any questions. Ms. Wright, do you have any questions? Mr. Barrett?
No, thank you.
Ms. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wonder if you could put up the photos, if staff could put up the photo of that semi-detached next door. You referenced that it was similar to what you're proposing to do?
Yes, yes.
I wonder if we could just see that for a second.
Yeah, so if you go on slide number, the zoom in of the property would be on, I think, slide 6 or 7. Next slide. If you look at that slide, the next slide after. Next slide.
We want to go back to the photo.
No, I think it went. Did you want to see the photos?
The photo of the property next door.
Okay, so if you look at the last picture, That's 1221 and 1223 Anoka Street, which has no green space in the front. It has driveways that are impermeable. There's that 0.91 meter setback on the side and the same rear yard setbacks that we're requesting and a smaller lot width area and lot width that we are requesting today. But it's just trying to kind of match up with the neighbors' properties.
Well, yeah, and that one sort of caught my eye because it's devoid of any landscape in the front
Right,
of the
right.
property.
We are suggesting to put landscape in the front.
So your project will have some front
If you look at
lawn?
the site plan, you'll see we have 2 new trees, some softscape, and we'll have permeable driveway as well.
Do you want to go forward? I think there is a picture of the
The site plan.
proposed an elevation.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a couple
Yeah,
of trees.
if you
right
look at
there.
that site plan, if you zoom in a little bit, you'll see there's trees.
Do you want to go back there? One more, go forward there. Oh.
Well, back 1 more, back 2 more.
So the property next door, should it have, maybe I'll ask planning, should it have some landscaping?
It should have some landscaping.
But
some-
they paved over the front yard
Yeah, that's correct.
from that photo. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to ask planning, Ms. King, if you've got some comments to make with respect to this application?
Yeah, so we do have just some light concerns with this, just because of the noted city tree that's just being removed in the front yard. But aside from that, we don't have any concerns with the minor variances or the consent. I guess if the panel has more questions with that tree, I'll defer to Mr. Alvarez because he did respond to the comments as
Okay.
of Friday.
Thank you. Ms. McLean, any questions for planning?
No, but I'd like to hear from forestry, I think. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get back to forestry. Mr. Barrett, do you have any comments?
Likewise, I'd like to hear from forestry. Thank you.
All right, that's right. No further. Okay, can we talk to somebody at forestry, Mr. Alvarez Barkham? So Miss McLean, you'd like to go first?
So there doesn't appear to be a condition. I know there was some correspondence back and forth about whether the city tree was to be retained or if it wasn't. So just if you could address that, thank you.
You're muted, Mr. Alvarez.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thanks. Thanks for the question. We didn't include a condition for a tree planting plan because they had already provided one in the tree information report. We did include a condition to request a grading and servicing plan to show the locations of mostly in this case, the services designed to provide space to the future trees.
Thank you.
I note that, condition number 2 and condition number 5 are the same. On my notes anyway. I got grading and drainage on number 2 and I've got grading and drainage on number 5.
No, 2 is grading and servicing plan.
Not on mine.
And then number 5 is grading and drainage.
Okay, perfect. All right, any other questions, Mr. Barrett?
Yes, the city, just a question to the arborist with regards to the city-owned tree. Is it a silver maple that's being proposed to be removed?
It's a sugar maple.
It's a sugar maple? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Barkham Alvarez. Okay, now on to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make some comments on this application? Anyone in-house? Anyone online?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
I have 3 people. I've got Jennifer Power Johnson, Matthew Cherian, and Cynthia Dolna. Who's up first? Hello, is there anybody from the public that would like to make comments on this application? Ms. Power,
Hello.
hello.
Can you hear me okay?
We can now. Yes, thank you.
Good.
My name is Jennifer Power Johnson. I live at 1224 Anoka Street, directly across from the proposed development at 1217 Anoka. I'm here to express serious concerns about the application and its claims to subdivide this property and construct a semi-detached dwelling. This application claims to propose a semi-detached dwelling, but based on patterns we've seen on our street, as well as the contradictory design plan provided, this is likely a misrepresentation. So slide 1, I do have a presentation to include.
Do staff have? We have the application. We'll be putting it up. There we go.
Okay, there we go. So slide 1 shows 1241 and 1240 Anoka. So 1241 was presented as a semi-detached, but actually contains 18 rental rooms. And 1240 contains 24 rental rooms across 6 units with no communal living space. These developments were approved under similar pretenses and have significantly altered the character of our neighborhood. Slide 2. So this shows the before and after of 1241 Anoka Street. And I feel that, just even looking at the differences here, it can't be disputed that these developments are negatively impacting the public interest in the character of our neighborhood. Slide 3. Shows deceptive sale practices. So the current applicant claimed they were buying the property for their children. As evidence here, I have text messages with the neighbors that shows the sellers believe they were not selling to a developer and the new owner was purchasing for their kids. I think this misrepresentation undermines trust and transparency in the development process. I'm going to go to inconsistencies in the application now, so slide 4. The applicant claims that this type of development is common in the neighborhood and will, quote, blend with the existing character in a harmonious manner. In reality, 84% of the homes on Anoka Street are single-family detached. There are 3 semi-detached family dwellings, and 2 multiplexes exist, both recent and controversial, as they have clearly not blended with the characteristic of the neighborhood. Slide 5. The applicant also claims that the home currently on site is in disrepair. Fact, my family of 4 lived there in the house at 1217 Anoka in 2023 while we were renovating our home and found it perfectly habitable. You'll see here the real estate listing description, which has renovated, tons of charm, solid brick bungalow, value-added renos, including the kitchen, furnace, bathroom, windows, electrical, finished basement. Slide 6 shows, I think, a well-maintained home, as well as the inviting and pleasant interior of the home. Slide 7 has more images as well, including the finished basement. Now to the ambiguity in the design and the way it's been presented in the application. So slide 8. The application states the plan is for 2 housing units and highlights photos of semi-detached family dwellings in the application. Yet, also includes 1 image of 1240 Anoka, a known multiplex, as a comparable. So that's slide 9. The proposed plan shows 4 front doors and multiple separate entrances, including separate lower level entrances, suggesting a multi-unit design. This ambiguity makes it impossible for residents in the city to properly assess the impact of the development. We as residents deserve clarity as well as the city planning department. Is this a semi-detached home with 2 units or a multiplex with multiple rental rooms? So my recommendation would be to not approve the variance until the applicant provides a clear, detailed design plan. I just feel that the integrity of our neighborhood depends on transparent and honest development practices. That's the conclusion to my presentation. Thank you.
Does that conclude your presentation, ma'am?
That's correct.
Can somebody turn her back on because she's off? Can't hear you.
Oh,
There you go. Now we can hear you.
okay. Yes, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the panel if you've got any questions for Ms. Power Johnson. Ms. McLean?
No.
Ms. Wright? Mr. Barrett?
No, I don't.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Power Johnson. We're now going to move on to our next speaker. I believe it's Matthew Cherian. Mr. Cherian?
The speaker is coming forward, Mr. Chair. It's just a slight delay.
Sure.
Can you hear? Oh, there I am.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Can you please state your name and your address, sir?
Sure. My name is Matthew Cherian, and I reside at 1252 Anoka Street. Thank you very much for allowing me to address the committees, and apologies for not being there in person. To start, myself and the majority of the residents of Anoka Street, and as well as the Ridgemont area, strongly oppose this application for minor variance.
You're not on it. Just.
Oh, 1217 Anoka Street. Sorry, I just got disturbed there. I have letters of support from 23 residents of the affected area, including for those that live within the 60-meter radius of 1217 Anoka. It is our view that the requested minor variances do not meet the 4 tests, a view that is also supported by the city staff, as per the 1217 Anoka planning report uploaded by the city on the 27th of August. I invite city staff in attendance to provide a more fulsome rationale for this statement at the end of my presentation. Thus, I ask the chair and committee to deny the request for consent and minor variance for 1217 Anoka. First, I would like to echo my neighbor Jennifer at 1224 Anoka that the applicant has incorrectly listed comparables in the neighborhood. Those would be 1221 and 1223 and 1248 and 1250. These each have 1 door on each unit, and they are rented or they are owned by 1 family and 1 tenant. Whereas the true comparable is that found at 1240 Anoka, which was on the slide 9 of the previous presentation. 1240 Anoka, just as this application, has 3 doors on each unit. So that's 6 units. So I would like to make that distinction that the only true comparable that we're talking about here is 1240 Anoka and 1241 as well, that has 2 units on each, 2 doors on each unit. This is a multi-unit structure, not a single family door. So in regards to the 4 variance tests, does the first one, does the proposal maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? It is the community of Anoka and Ridgemont's opinion that this test is not satisfied, as Anoka Street is not part of the general urban area, as stated by the applicant. Rather, we are part of the outer urban transect found under the evolving neighborhood overlay, as per the official plan. This was mentioned in the earlier agenda item. The plan also states that for this neighborhood, the evolution is to occur gradually. If the Committee of Adjustment approves this variance application, this action would contradict this part of the plan, as the approval of 3 variance applications in less than 4 years, that is, in the last 3 years, the variance for 1240 and 1241 were approved. So if you approve this variance, that's 3 variances that will allow these massive structures that are multi-unit dwellings, leading up to a total of 66 rooms or 66 tenants in a 60-meter radius. That is not gradual in 3 years. That is quick. So based on this assessment, we don't believe that it passes this variance test. Does the proposal maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Yeah, it is our opinion that this test is not satisfied. I stated earlier, as stated earlier in the previous presentation, the applicant has submitted incorrect comparables. The only one is that of 1240, and as mentioned by the previous presenter, these multi-unit dwellings have a significant impact on the neighborhood and does not maintain align with the zoning bylaw. Is the proposal desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land? The introduction of this proposed development is desirable for this property. So the statement that the applicant has provided that is in disrepair is false and incorrect, as proven by Jennifer in the previous presentation. It is a turnkey ready house. So by allowing for the application to go through, this committee will be helping destroy a house that is ready to be moved in by a family or tenants, which will help address the current housing crisis we have here in Ottawa. Is the proposal minor? It is our belief that this test is not satisfied as well due to the unacceptable adverse impact these variances have, which allow for these massive multi-unit dwellings. The applicant desires to cut down 7 trees, only provide 2 driveways for 6 units, where one side of the street is no parking, no plans for a garbage room, or address the copious amounts of garbage that will be created, which we have been living with the previous 2 structures whose variances were approved. You know, we are aware of the housing crisis here in Ottawa, but we believe that 1240 and 1241 Anoka Street, which are the units that were approved for variance a few years ago, which can house up to 42 people, already addresses this issue on our street. And a third will no doubt change forever the look or feel of our neighborhood, increasing the existing traffic, parking, and garbage. I would also request that any demolition permit that the applicant is awarded is tied to a building permit. So the applicant is not allowed to demolish this perfectly well-suited house without securing the building permit, which means also adhering to the conditions, the many conditions that I see. Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the panel if they've got any questions for the public. Ms. McLean? Ms. Wright? Mr. Barrett? Okay. Thank you very much for your input, sir. Appreciate it. Now I'd like to move on to Cynthia Dolna. Ms. Dolna?
The speaker is joining, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Dolna, are you available? Just hit the snooze button. You are muted, Ms. Dolna.
Sorry.
I can't hear you still.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, we need to raise the volume a little bit.
Okay.
Hi, please go ahead. State your name and your address, please.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. My name is Cynthia Dolgan, and I reside at 1711 Grassmere Crescent. I've been a resident of the neighborhood for 48 years, and I'll speak to the points of the proposed development not being minor nor desirable. The area to Ridgemont is a small triangular area of homes defined by Heron Road, Bank Street, and Alta Vista Drive. It's a lovely mix of homeowners and rental units with backyards and sufficient parking. I want to start by saying that 1217 Anoka Street was marketed on real estate posting prior to the purchase, as Jennifer noted, as being something completely different than what's been submitted. It was indicated as being renovated. It's a proper livable home and so forth. So she already presented that. So unfortunately, our neighborhood is being targeted by developers who acquire family homes with large lots for the purposes of building rent by the room housing, which is not to be confused with affordable housing nor family-friendly housing. And the lack of transparency is a concern for our community and should be for the Committee of Adjustments. The proposal of 1217 Anoka Street looks to be another rent by the room housing proposal as indicated by the prior two participants. And if you could put up the first document that I'd asked to submit, the one that shows the Ridgemont and Anoka. But this shows what we think is probably going to be the similar types of units that are going up. The first one is 1218, 1220 Ridgemont. This unit has, we believe, 18 rent by the rooms units. It has at least that many units. It has 121 pages of bylaw infractions as of May 2025, issues with garbage, front lawn parking, frequent mattresses on the property, which just shows how frequent people are moving in and out of the unit, stolen grocery carts on the lawn, rat issues on Portland and Ridgemont streets. There's no parking on Ridgemont because of this unit now. 1241, 1243 Anoka Street, another rent by the room unit, which has gone up. This one seems to have ongoing vacancies. As you could always see, there's a constant sign on the property looking for tenants to be renting just by the room. Mattresses are being discarded. You can see in the picture there's one mattress of a recent photo I've taken. And also, once again, I'll find frequently shopping carts, which are taken from the grocery store. And we're nearing the completion of the third unit, which is a 24-room rental on Anoka Street as well. So the community is changing because of the lack of transparency that's being provided to the community and to the Committee of Adjustments. So we are losing proper brick homes with proper laneways to park 2 to 3 cars, backyards to be enjoyed, storage for outdoor toys and bicycles. The rent by the room housing is not the middle missing class that we're looking for, that the city's looking for to be building. There's also aging infrastructure in our neighborhood. And in August, there was a broken water main at Bank and Heron. Earlier in the summer, Bank and Alta Vista, Grassmere Crescent, and Edge Hill Place. Emergency repair work done on Ridgemont because of broken pipes. They identified the whole street needs to be replaced, and replacement pipes are required on Anoka Street. Additional units on Anoka Street will just add to the concern of the aging infrastructure, which the city has also already identified. Reduce green space by building large units on these properties increases the surface stormwater, which may not be accommodated by our aging infrastructure in the neighborhood. I also have a concern for the lack of parking of these units because it's just pushing cars onto the side street. Anoka from Bank Street to Edgehill has parking on one side of the street only now. Ridgemont has no parking. Additional units on the street without sufficient parking has resulted in the cars parking further down Anoka and on Edgehill Place. There are elderly people walking in our neighborhood as well as children feeding 5 different schools within a walking distance. Cars parked on the road is a safety concern for our adults and the children who are walking around and between these cars. Currently, there's a lot of purpose-built housing that's being built in our community. And I just want to stress that there's 6,000 units being built at Heron Gate, which is a short distance from our house. And that started in May this year. They've already started, I've noticed the cranes going up that are going to build the apartment towers. There's going to be 1,100 units across the street of 1495 Heron Road and another 1,500 units going up Bank and Walkley. And a little further down, there's 400 unit student complex for student housing on Brookfield Road, which started construction. So we have in our very close area, new, purpose-built, well-planned housing very close by. So I'd like to remind the committee of 1679 Grassmere Crescent, and if you could put up my second image, please, I'd appreciate that. This is where the developer proposed to build 48 rooms to rent. Unfortunately, this was another well-built brick home, renovated, ready to move in, and purchased for the lot size under deception by the developer who commenced the demolition without permits. And this is what we're sitting with on our street right now in our community, a house that's uninhabitable. And that would have been a perfect house for a family or a couple to start their lives. So our community wants to preserve our homes in our neighborhood where couples and families can live and enjoy and appreciate the neighborhood. So therefore, I do not recommend that the committee consent to the severance, deny the request for the variances of lot width, area, rear and side setbacks, and dismiss the application in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the panel, do you have any questions for you now? Mr. Barrett, do you have any questions for Ms. Dolgan? Thank you. Ms. Wright? No, I don't. Ms. McLean? No. Thank you very much. No further questions. Thank you very much for your input, ma'am. Much appreciated. Now I'd like to move on to the applicant. He now has the opportunity to give us the last word. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Just to clarify, all those buildings that they showed up are showing on the pictures. I didn't develop those. I didn't work on those. We do not manage those. And we have not planned to do any student rentals. We're not doing rooming houses. Those are illegal. We're looking to build 2 semis, detaches. The development of the project is still in under works, and we're looking at different alternatives, but this is not going to be a rooming house, just to clarify.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to ask the panel if they would like to reserve on this application. All those in favor? Your application will be reserved and we'll let you know within 10 days of our written decision.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for your participation today. Much appreciated. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.